Hey guys, welcome to another Mood Board Monday. This week I started actually by using my gel plate. Ever since I got the smaller one, I have been doing a lot more gel printing in my journal or making papers, and I just love it. And you can see I'm not very organized with it. I use all kinds of different papers, I use different paints, I mix things together, add water here and there. It's just a lot of fun, I find. And I also clean off my brayer, and I did that actually several times during this whole sequence. I actually cleaned off the brayer in a couple other journals as well, and I think I do it on the back of some of the paper that I'm actually printing on in this one. I really love the gel plate. I've always been in love with it. I stopped using it for a while because it was kind of harder to pull out the plate. I had like the original one. And it was just like a big plate, and I felt like it had to be a whole production, and I had to get out all these super paints and all of that. But having the small one, I actually can carry it with me, like in a mobile journaling bag or, you know, my box of supplies. It's easy to transport, easy to use. And it just adds fun. I don't know, it's a great warm-up. So if you're ever kind of sitting down to work in your journal and you just don't know where to start, or you're just not feeling it, or you don't think inspiration's ready to strike, I really recommend getting yourself a gel plate, even a small one like mine, and just having fun with it and layering colors. It's so relaxing, and it really does get the creative juices flowing. Now, total honesty, I actually started working on the gel plate after I did the background in my journal, like the original background. But I wanted to show it in this sequence because it really is something that you kind of just start with. You just make some papers, you know, inspired by the mood board, using the colors that we had. It really helps. And I really love making papers myself. I'm a big proponent of using like vintage papers and papers that I've made myself in my journal. I've made a lot of collage sheets to sell, but I don't really use them very much because I don't know, I like using things that I've created because I know it's going to go in the direction I want it to go. So I kind of used this to prime the pump, used all the colors that were in our mood board for this week, and just made all these papers. Now, once I finish with the gel plate, here's my background. So I'm using the Faber-Castell gelatos. I really like them. I got a bunch of them at Creativation, and then I actually went out and bought like the neons set. There's something that I used to use a lot that I kind of stopped. They're like using watercolor crayons. As you see with water, you can blend them, but I found that once they dry, they're not as easy to blend together as, say, actual watercolors. Like the pink and the purple there, they didn't really blend very well. So I kind of did it in chunks, and that way it preserved the colors and it didn't turn into mud. So that's kind of a little trick for you. Now, after that, I went in and I started adding paint layers in the colors that we had for our mood board. And remember, I did add brayer stuff on top. Now I'm collaging paper. That's from an old Ikebana book I got from a library sale years ago. And that's ledger paper that I got from a church thrift sale back in like 2007, and I still have a box of it left. I love that paper. And then here's some of my papers I made with the gel plate. And I don't really think about like the whole collage or the whole page. I just try to think about like, what am I going to do next? Okay, I'm going to put down this piece of paper. Then I look around at my desk because it's a mess. It has everything within arm's reach. What am I going to do next? What papers am I going to cut? What papers am I going to rip? This one gets stapled into the book. So after that, I decided I wanted to do layers of writing. I really love it when there's layers underneath all the layers. So I used some black high flow acrylic to write with a brush. And then I worked with my white pen and some crayons. And then after that, I did collage another piece, but my camera decided to not work. So there's that piece on the upper right. Then I started to come in and block in color with acrylic. Why? Because I felt like it needed more teal, and I just kind of added it here and there. I used to think I had to add like a whole space or something that was organized, but I don't. Then I started to color with some of my crayons, and they just wrote in the paint, which was really fun. I came back in and added some more yellow paint to this, and I think throughout it I just add random squiggles. There's some neon magenta, just stripes. Why? I don't know. I just did it. Added it here and there. I really love the neon magenta by Golden, so I made some marks with my brush here and there. And that's kind of where I ended up when I first sat down. This is a stamp from Ray Missman's Paperback Studios series, and I just actually stamp into wet paint. This is a Bria Reese acrylic writer. They're really fun to use, just making some marks, and it'll be like puffy paint on there. Then I started actually using the stamps with the black ink. I really love her collection of stamps with Paperback Studios. And then that stamp is, of course, one of Dina's from, oh my gosh, like 8 years ago, I think. Then I was like, do I want to cover more up? I want to write on this. I want to like actually journal on it. So where can I do that and how can I do that? Well, I couldn't figure it out, so I started outlining arrows with the pastel pencil and just kind of hoped that the more I made marks and the more I kept going, I would be inspired to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. So then I added some more writing and some more layers, some more stamping. I just kind of had a ball with this one. This is my favorite. It is a brush acrylic paint marker by it's a Posca. I love it. I have it in white, I have it in black, and I'm going to soon have it in more. They're kind of expensive, but they're really great for doing stuff like this, like doing, you know, the brush lettering over, you know, layers. I mean, I could have done it with an actual brush, but this is easy. I just pick it up, I write it, and then I'm done. I don't need any water or a brush or anything like that. So then I decided to just journal, like in that side over there with just a black pigment pen. Just a lot of stuff that's been in my head and a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about and such. And I like to write it down because I can look back at these journals and see where I was, both artistically and with life, I guess you could say. And then I decided to add more. So this is my Posca white pen, you know, paint pen. So I added that, added more writing, just, you know, getting it out, expressing myself, writing it all down so that an older me or any new people in my life can kind of look at it and see who I was and what I was doing and what I was feeling. And, you know, it really is learning to live again and just living with, you know, comfort and no more stress and all of that. It's been an amazing, amazing time in my life. So there you go.